This week, the Capitol welcomed its newest Congress, and Democrats have secured the House of Representatives from the Republicans. This gives the party a level of power and authority that they haven't had since 2011. But before they can celebrate the win, they'll have to work with their political rivals to end a government shutdown that's now in its second week and negotiate with the president, who seems to have no problem letting it continue.
I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck. I can't tell you when the government's going to be open. I can tell you it's not going to be open until we have a wall, a fence, whatever they'd like to call it. I'll call it whatever they want.
Hello and welcome to DC Direct. I'm Lionel Donovan. In this show, we try to tackle the big issues here in the U.S., but we want you to weigh in. So feel free to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World, and reach out to us with the hashtag DC Direct and be a part of the conversation. In today's show, we'll be talking about the U.S. government shutdown. What many have feared has come to pass. The government is closed for business. Lawmakers weren't able to put together a budget in time to finance all of the government's federal agencies, which means federal employees around the country will either have to work for free or might not even be called in to work. So what led to this government shutdown, and exactly who is being affected by it?
This is the first time in U.S. history that a government shutdown is happening due to a construction project, and that project is the wall, which the U.S. President Donald Trump wants to build along the U.S. and Mexico border. The shutdown is partial because 75% of government funding was already approved on October 1st, which includes money for the military. But this shutdown cuts off spending for 9 of the 15 federal departments. Despite the shutdown, 420,000 employees who are considered to be essential personnel will still show up to work but won't get any pay. The U.S. Secret Service, Transportation Security Administration, Homeland Security, and air traffic controllers are considered vital functions for the government. Once the government is reopened, these employees will get paid. Non-essential personnel, which consists of 380,000 workers, stop work and therefore get no payment, even after the impasse. So the social security checks will continue and staff will be checking passports at the airport, but a number of national attractions will be closed. And if the shutdown continues, things could get worse. For instance, the Federal Housing Administration will delay the approval of home loans, or the USDA will close farm service centers. During the previous long-lasting government shutdown in 2013, garbage piled up in parts of Washington, D.C. The city's budget was frozen because it was tied to the federal government.
So how has this shutdown been received by those outside the halls of Congress?
Well, actually, it's my first time in D.C., and we were super excited, to go see the Smithsonian's. We had a Capitol tour planned, and we just got up today, so we had everything planned for tomorrow. But as of yesterday, everything's shut down, even the zoo.
The business has been very slow because a lot of people from the offices are not working.
You give a little, you get a little, and that's the way the government's always worked in America. And unfortunately, right now, it's, it seems like to me, again, too, I don't know, it seems like the Republicans are trying to give a little, but Democrats aren't giving anything back. They're just sticking their feet in the sand and drawing a hard line.
Slow, nothing. Sometimes I just want to stay home because I'm self-employed. I don't come to work, I don't get nothing.
My visitors will miss the beauty of DC that we're very proud of because of the museums here that are great and they're free, supposed to be, but because it's closed, because federal government is closed.
Every year, that's going to be the way, the brinksmanship that we get to a resolution. I don't think that's how, our founding fathers imagined negotiations were going to happen.
We're shut down too.
I decided to go to Capitol Hill and talk to Camila Dechalus of CQ Roll Call to get answers. Well, the last time we spoke, we discussed the possibility of a government shutdown, and now not only has it arrived, but we're a couple of weeks into it. So basically, what's going on?
So we're now coming up on almost 2 weeks of a partial government shutdown. Today is also the first day that the Congress is back in session, and since the Democrats have taken back the House, one of their very ambitious agendas is to pass a series of bills that would reopen the government. Now, Trump has said time and time again since earlier this week that he will not sign any bill that does not include funding for his border wall. And so a lot of Senate Republican leaders have already came out forward and said that this bill is simply a non-starter because it does not include funding for the border wall. People are starting to get anxious about how long this government shutdown will continue.
We know about all of the fighting between Democrats and Republicans and the back and forth here in D.C., but how much of an impact is this shutdown having outside of the Capitol on regular, everyday Americans?
Public museums are closed, public parks. On the immigration front, a lot of immigration courts are now closed, and a lot of immigration judges have had to postpone their court hearings. And so this is now going to just increase the backlog of immigration cases, which is already at 800,000.
The effects of the government shutdown aren't just limited to D.C. Lawmakers say they want to reopen the government, but not if they have to compromise their positions, which leaves both sides at a stalemate. And the consequences for that stalemate are being paid by everyday Americans across the country. Well, that's all the time we have today in DC Direct, but please be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World, and reach out to us with the hashtag DC Direct and be a part of the conversation, and let us know what you think about the U.S. government shutdown. Until next time, I'm Lionel Donovan.